this is the first focused reading vlog we are doing of the year, which I think is actually getting us off to a really stellar start. As you can tell from the title, we are going to be reading the newest book in one of my favorite series, and that is 9 Liars, which is part of the Truly Devious series. I know a long time ago I said that I really wanted to reread the series before this book came out, but guess what? That didn't happen. There's spoilers in this vlog. Like, I'm sorry. What do you want me to say? I guess I could give an overall summary at the end that's like spoiler free, but like, So you can proceed as you want, but I have warned you. Spoilers, 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 spoilers. The Truly Devious series follows Stevie Bell. She is in high school and she enrolls at Ellingham Academy, and this school is kind of like for the unique and gifted and super smart students and who want to study things that probably aren't like the most normal subjects. School is famous because the owner was a really rich man back in the day, but his wife and his daughter were kidnapped and murdered on this campus, and Stevie wanted to come to the school to solve this crime. And throughout the first original trilogy, she does solve the crime. She solves multiple crimes, actually. It was just really good, really exhilarating. I loved it. Then there was a 4th book, which was called Box in the Woods. This was like a standalone story that went over the summer, and it was Stevie and her friends going to a summer camp, and this summer camp also had a murder and they were recruited to come there by the new owner of this camp, and they solved that story too. So this one I think is going to be like another standalone, I mean, I'm sure it is, but another standalone little story that deals with Stevie and her friends going to England, which is where her boyfriend is, and they are solving a old murder that happened there. I kind of started it last night. Don't hate me, don't hate me, don't hate me. Let's just pull the sleeve off. So I already kind of cracked the spine and everything on this one. It's just like yellow and it says 9 Liars on it. Yeah, nice. I made it to page 150. And I know you're probably like, oh my gosh, you read so much. What the hell? You totally like left us out of all of that. But listen, this is only chapter 10. So it's not like I really got that far, but we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna recap this also, best attempt. Even though I just read it, you would think I would be able to recap this so well, but no. Stevie is in her last year at Ellingham, and she just feels like she has no real direction. She's kind of, by definition of her friends, the girl with the long distance boyfriend. She's also not really set in her plans on what she wants to do for college or anything like that, which I think is also making her insanely anxious. And so she's trying to avoid that, unlike her friends who seem a little bit more prepared.
What? What happened to your hair? What happened to your shirt? My shirt? Yeah, what's the dirt on there? Oh, that's the chalkboard. Oh. I'll be back.
Sorry. Had to talk to my roommate about her day. Anyway, so this book, well, I feel like Stevie was like really distracted anyways, and David just happened to message her and was like, hey, why don't you come to England? All innocent, like just come. I think they're only there for like a week or two for like the lead up to Thanksgiving break. So it's a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. She goes with her friends Janelle, Vi, and Nate, and David made sure that there was accommodations for all of them, which I thought was really sweet because I was like, damn, he knows that those hurt people. So the murder, because I think that's the more interesting part of all of this. The murder is about 9 friends, and they call themselves the 9. They went to Cambridge back in the day in like the 90s, and they were a comedy group because I think they all were in theater before eventually majority of them decided to go into other majors and pursue different careers, but they still had this comedy sketch group that they did at like local, I don't know, pubs or something, I don't know, but they went places and they told jokes. They all lived together, they were like always together, they dated together, they were each other's lifelines. They were going on this final vacation, this trip, trying to make it like their last hoorah before everyone moved to different places. They go to their friend Sebastian's house. His family is rich. He's like a duke or a viscount or something. I don't know. Something's off. There's clearly a lot of secrets, there's a lot of tension, there's drama brewing. They pick their rooms. One of the girls in the group, Rosie, she, I guess, saw something. They were like looking at photos, and I think she saw something in one of the photos that kind of confirmed a theory for her. She was going to Angela, one of the friends, to tell her, but got interrupted before she could. Seemed like something very serious. We have no idea what it was that she saw or thinks she saw, that she told another one of their friends, Noelle. After Rosie attempted to tell Angela's secret but they were interrupted, they all decided to play their annual tradition of playing hide and seek on the grounds of this big cottage, house, palace, whatever. They decided to play even though it was like storming outside. They played for quite a few hours until eventually majority of them were found, 7 of them. After they go inside, they drink a little bit more and then people start going to sleep. But then the next morning they realize that their 2 friends, Rosie and Noelle, did not come back. Sebastian, whose house it is, and Theodora, they go looking for them again. They're like, okay, let's go look around one more time. Maybe they fell asleep somewhere. Like, you know, we have crazy parties. People are always found in random places sleeping. No one was truly alarmed yet. They go to this shed. It looks like it's been broken into, and they find Noelle and Rosie in there dead, and they were killed by an axe. And so that's insane, but that's what the murder was. How does Stevie get involved in this murder? We only just found that out. So like I said, there hasn't been too much going on. When Stevie and her friends get to England, they meet up with David and he introduces them to his friend Izzy. And before you even ask, no, Stevie cannot recall ever being told about Izzy. Even though her and David talk every single day, this girl knows everything about Stevie and her friends, but she knows nothing about her. So I can already tell that's going to be drama. It's going to inevitably come up eventually, especially since this is also the trip that Stevie is kind of like, I want to have sex with David, I think. I mean, on top of the whole, like, why didn't you tell me about this person, this friend that clearly you're spending so much time with, and they're also so opposite of me and they're so beautiful, and like, you know, she's feeling that insecurity, she's feeling that jealousy already, but she's also at this point where she feels like she wants to take another step with David. So I feel like her emotions are definitely going to come to a peak. I'm sure that's going to be a big part of this. I can already tell and predict that drama will be coming. But Izzy is actually the niece of Angela, who was one of the original 9 from that murder case, and she wants to help her aunt get closure and figure out who it was that killed her friends, because they summed it up to being a burglary gone wrong, and the friends just ended up being in the wrong place, wrong time. But she does not believe that that's what happened. Personally, I have no idea how CV is going to solve this. I feel like majority of her evidence in her case would be on the property and at least being able to tell that. And I don't know if Angela is still close to Sebastian. I don't know what she would even need to start figuring that out, especially since there aren't many articles public about the case. I always want to eliminate the people who I feel like it's way too obvious that it was them. Because at first I was thinking that Noelle killed Rosie, but then I found out that Noelle was dead and I was like, oh, okay. But I think, I don't know. I said this was going to be a reading vlog, and then my memory card stopped working for some reason. I had to take all the files off of it and like reset it or something. I don't know what happened. I'm on chapter 24. I have literally gotten through all of this in the book. my ass was so into the story, I couldn't put it down. And I read well over 100 pages getting here. I mean, sure, some of it was a little bit of a snooze, so I kind of just zoomed through it, but like, come on. I think there's probably 100 pages left, and I'm so tempted to keep going. Stevie met the aunt. Then her aunt goes missing the following day. She had said in the group chat that someone had a button or something, and then she was never heard from again. She got a phone call from an unknown number and just took off. She didn't set up anything in her house. Like, she left dishes. Like, she was not planning to be gone long. And then all of the friends decided to go to Merryweather, which is where Sebastian lives. He's now the Viscount. And so they all go there, and somehow Izzy convinces them to let Stevie and her friends come. But the real turn of it is that when they get there, they find out that the friends did lie about the case, because when they found the bodies, they also were like, listen, there's weed in this shed. The shed is where the friends were found, and they're like, we have to get this out of here before the cops come. So all the friends work together because they are a lifeline. Kind of made up the story that like the other friends went to the store while Theo and Sebastian were checking out this shed and finding where Noelle and Rosie were. Angela, who is the aunt, had been investigating this case, and she was getting down to it because she's a historian now, and she had found an article about a girl whose name I still can't remember. Her name is something Samantha. Samantha was murdered, and there was a news article put in the paper that day about this murder case or something, or she drowned or something, I don't know. Anyways, there was an article about it, and she happens to be the girl that Julian made out with, which is the reason why Julian and Rosie broke up. Did I mention this in the first half? Yash, who is one of the friends, made out with her and like gave her some CDs and was like, hey, come by the house, you can drop them off. And they're assuming at this point that she was on her way to their place when she fell in the water and drowned or was murdered. On the Stevie and David front, I think they were having sex or about to have sex. I don't know what was happening, but she was talking about how sweaty she was and like her hair was a mess, and I was like, But anyways, Sue's like walked in on them and she was like, oh my god, what's going on? She was like, look, I'm not looking. But yeah, I don't know, but I think I'm gonna I kind of want to just finish it. I feel like I could, but either way, I'll check in whenever I finish it, or like whenever, I don't know. I have finished 9 Liars right here. Literally still haven't even put the sleeve back on it. I annotated the fuck out of this book. Oh my gosh. We can give you like a quick little flash of everything, you know. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful moment. I don't even know what to say my final rating is, but I think we need to go through this first. We need to go through the book, and I'm gonna do this as quickly as possible. This last portion of the book was a ride. I don't know when I left off, but like they got to Merryweather, right? Did I tell you that? Like they were supposed to get like permission to go, but Stevie lied about them having permission to go so that they would go so she could solve the case. Nothing really happened during the Merryweather thing. Eventually, Julian does get a call that they found Angela, and unfortunately she was found in the water and like she was gone. And so Izzy was really emotional about it, and David decided to stay back with her while the others went back to wherever so that they could complete at least that day's agenda of things that they were supposed to do, because that's what they were supposed to do for school. She gets back, she's like, David, where are you? Like, what's going on? She gets there and he's like in Izzy's room, and like Izzy is still like really emotional about everything, and then David just like kind of stays there with her, and Stevie's like, you're not gonna come to my room, and he's like, no. And so Stevie goes back to her room and she like leaves her door cracked open so that he could come in there, and she like slept in her onesie, and the onesie is like her sexy sex outfit that she got for the thing. I don't know if I mentioned that, but oh my god, poor thing. All that comes of that is that the next day when they're like rushing to pack and get ready to go, David breaks up with her. He is back in his ways of being an asshole. They're like, well, we have no time to really do anything about this. We have to go. But then when they get there, Stevie just starts spiraling and she does not get on the plane. She gets in contact with Izzy and then goes back to Angela's place and searches some more. So then they have all of the 9 come and meet, or the 7 meet at some location. Stevie did her thing where she like recounts everything. She tells them the story of what happened that night, the best of her abilities to figure it out, and she put it all together very, very well. Do you want to know who did it? The lights turned out. I should have taken this into account, that like an axe, you need to have like strength behind you to do that. So the person who did it, are you ready? It was Peter. It was wild how things spiraled. He killed that Samantha girl, he killed Rosie, and he killed Noelle, and he killed Angela, all of them, which is absolutely insane. Like, I just, wow. Peter obviously had so many issues with the friend group and just their personalities, and he was just sick of it. He was over it. He was ready to go, which makes it so interesting that he was able to stay in contact with everyone for so many years after that, because I would think that he would be like the first one ready to be like, yeah, I'm gonna move somewhere and I can't do this or something. But no, he stayed close. He literally works with Yash all the time. Izzy and Stevie are going back, and then Izzy's like, you know, David is like incredibly intimidated by you. Like, I know what he did, like that's crazy. And then Stevie's like, I was jealous of you. And then she's like, dude, I have a boyfriend. I have my own situationships going on. I am not concerned with David. And David is so obsessed with you. He's always talking about you, and like he's also very intimidated by you. He was spiraling because he just felt like he was not good enough for you. And she was like, we're gonna fix this, we're gonna go find David, and you guys are gonna, you know, talk, and then whatever. And he's like off getting drunk at one of the pubs or whatever, and they go there and he is making out with someone, and then the story ends. Okay, let me fully explain this, because as someone who loves the Truly Devious series, I feel like I can say this. These are my own opinions, but like I feel like I can say this. So this book, I feel like this story came too soon for Stevie. This was not the point that she needed to have an international story, but the actual story, the plot, the murder that she was supposed to solve, this should have been like, maybe, what book is this? The 5th one? So I feel like this maybe should have been the 7th book. The thing that really holds this back is that there was no real smooth way to get Stevie into this case. Where with Truly Devious, obviously, we know why she was connected to that case. She went to that school to solve it. And then with Box in the Woods, was hired to go to the camp specifically to solve a case or to see about it and stuff like that. And this one, she was misled into a situation to solve a case, but it just wasn't as natural of a connection as I feel the previous 2 cases were. And the reason why I'm saying that this book came too early, the story, at least the plot, is because I feel like this just would have been so much better if this was college age Stevie. You know, the 5th book was her senior year case, and then the 6th book would be like her first semester in a college, wherever she decides to go to school. And a case that goes on there, maybe a real-time case would be nice to see. And so instead of always getting into cold cases. And I feel like this would have been great for her to do like a semester abroad. And yes, her motivation would be to see David, but like she would have a semester abroad, and being there for a semester would allow her to be more acclimated to the area. It would allow her to organically maybe meet Izzy and then get curious about the case. The tours they had to do and stuff, like they actually had to go there and do those things for the project. And like her principal, or the director, whoever the hell, she kept calling like, oh, did you actually do this? And I know that adds stakes to it and makes things more like thrilling, I guess, but I feel like that could have been avoided. Even though I do think that this was a great story, I did love hearing about the 9 and I like their friendship and stuff, but I just feel like there was just a more organic way to get Stevie into this case than what we got here. Well, let's talk about this relationship shit, because that did take up a good bulk of the story also, because obviously, like I said in the beginning, Stevie is now at this point where she is ready to go to that next step of intimacy with David. Throughout this book, there were so many cute moments between her and David. And honestly, especially after the box in the woods, I was really rooting for them. And I mean, I'm still rooting for them, even with that ending. Stevie does confront him about Izzy and she's like, so what's going on there or something? And he's like, have I done anything to make you think that I would cheat on you or anything like that? I think that the insecurity that Stevie had still was kind of stemming from like, okay, first of all, David didn't tell her at all that Izzy even existed, which I thought was weird, and I kind of wish that she would have confronted him on that specific part of it, because why did he never mention her? Especially if it's so innocent, like they're literally just friends. Like, why did you never mention Izzy before, even though Izzy knew so much about Stevie? And I also thought it was really great, the conversation that they had when she like kind of brought up the topic of sex. And like, he knew that she wanted to bring it up. He knew that that's kind of what she wanted to say, which I think is so, oh my god, I'm like, damn, he really knows her. Like, he really listens and pays attention to like everything about her, and like he knows. He just knows how to like react with her. There was like someone who brought up like, oh, you should get married or something, like you should marry her. And he was like, yeah, I plan on it. And I was just like, what the hell? That was so like random. I really loved the scene when I put stickers on it and everything because I loved it so much. Because the scene when she finally does bring up like the sex thing, that she wants to have sex with him, and he's just like, yeah, we'll do whatever you want. Like, there's no pressure like at all, and you have to let me know what you want. And I don't know, I just loved that there was like no pressure in it. He was just like, you know, like, yeah, I've had sex before, but I don't really, you know, I don't know. I hate that it's so bare minimum for a man to just like respect you and just be like, you know, no means no, and if you don't want to, that's fine. We don't need that until you're ready. But it was just weird, I feel, to write in a breakup in like the last 50 pages of the book. Even though Izzy does kind of explain where David's mindset was, I still don't know what prompted that. Izzy's aunt died, which I understand that, because I was like, yes, be a good friend. I get that. And she needs someone that she can truly lean on, because like, yes, she knows her aunt's friends, but she doesn't know them like that, even though I know they would have taken care of her. But you know, and he would have just gone back with her and then sat around for hours because he wasn't going on all of the touristy things. And I get it to a point. But literally before they got the news that her aunt had passed, him and Stevie were in bed together. So I'm just confused as to what prompted him to spiral, and that's what I'm missing. And I need to know like what happened, because like clearly something must have set him off. I don't really think that there was anything that Stevie did up until that point that should have made him feel like inferior to her, or like really think like, oh wow, Stevie's going places. I'm as confused as Stevie is, and I feel like, I hate to say that it feels like it was just kind of lazily put in there, and it was just thrown in there to add drama to the already their drama, but I feel like we didn't need that. Like, I mean, I kind of understand the whole like David making out with someone. I mean, as much as it's like, but they were broken up. This is not one of those things like Ross and Rachel. It's not like the we were on a break technicalities. This is like they firmly broke up. And yes, it is shitty that he was making out with someone else, but he was drunk and emotional, and so I could totally see that happening. He doesn't know that she's there, and like at that point he probably feels like, you know, she's gone and we need to just like try and move on. But I guess this is gonna carry over into another book. When is it coming out? I don't know, but hopefully soon. I would love if it came out this year, because then I wouldn't have to wait so long. Also, before I forget, I kind of hated that her friends just kind of felt like they were there, and like the little bits that we did get contributed to like their personalities and things just felt like afterthoughts, like they were just kind of thrown in there. And I understand that it is Stevie's story, and so there's not always time to like develop the other characters and make them feel like they have more to their life than just the one theme that they have for the whole book. But it would have been nice if we could have gotten more. Like I miss Janelle and like kind of knowing more about her, and like Vi and Nate. I mean, I think Nate probably of all of them got the most added to his character, but I kind of wish that Janelle could have had a little bit more. I feel like she was so focused all throughout this on college applications. It was just, that's all her personality was. She's brought along just because they are best friends, not because she's necessary. I know I said I was gonna wrap this up. No, there was a part in this where Janelle finds out that Stevie lied about the dean or creator, whatever, principal. She lied about them being okay to go to Merriweather and to take that trip. And Janelle was rightfully angry with her, but because they need to move the plot along, Stevie just was forgiven instantly, and it just like they kind of just moved on from it. We don't even hear immediately the consequences of them not going, and I'm sure there are going to be consequences, but like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not saying that I think that Janelle should have screamed at her or anything. It's like we couldn't allow her to feel those emotions. We had to forgive Stevie right away, where I feel like she probably didn't really need to be forgiven right away, and it probably would have made more sense, because I feel like Janelle, especially in that time when she's so high-strung over college applications and just, she's very much about sticking to the rules. Like, yes, sometimes rules can be broken, but she needs to be at least let known. And then she was talking about how much Stevie lies, and like she wasn't acting like a good friend, and she didn't trust them to know that information. And then she's told Nate before she even told Janelle, and it was like, when were you going to tell me? And so I feel like that was a broader conversation that should have been focused on a little bit more. And then like I would have rather that drama panned out than the stuff with David. I mean, it's not that I want her and Janelle to fight, but like I would have rather seen that kind of pan out and Stevie to really feel the consequences of that, because I don't know if she really did, because she still left them in a situation where they're going to arrive back in the States and they don't have their friend. She is there by herself, unaccounted for, like literally. And what? It was still so good. I love being with Stevie and I love this world. I don't know, something about Stevie just feels so like comforting. I had a great time. 3.5 stars, and I cannot wait for the next book, because I need to know what the fuck is going on, because now that I have to focus on her and David, you know, Maureen Johnson better be good. It better be amazing, because I don't know. I hope this made sense. I need to go to bed. That's my reading vlog for 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson. I really hope that you enjoyed this. And this is our first official reading vlog of the year, which is so exciting. 2023 is our year. This is our year. We're gonna be so fortunate. We're gonna read so many great books. It's gonna be a great, amazing time. And yeah, love it. Okay, that's it. Bye.
Having the dreams, baby.